That's for all the kids out there who dream the impossible. You can do it too, man. I believe in you guys.
This is dreams we're talking about. We're talking about dreams.
When we're growing up, we quickly learn certain things. Save money, eat healthily, and of course, chase your dreams no matter how big they seem. But what if I told you your dreams are literally impossible? Let me tell you a story. When I was young, the only thing I wanted to do with my life is to be a racing driver. I used to watch every single Grand Prix from the age of around 6, and I even skipped playing football for watching the racing. Soon enough, my parents would take me to the go-kart centre locally, and I would beat the other kids and I'd have great fun. But eventually, we hit a brick wall. Not many people know this, but motorsport and even indoor go-karting is extremely expensive. If you want to climb the ranks, you're potentially looking at tens of thousands of pounds per year to try and prove your worth against the very best nationally. Even on the lowest rung of the ladder, it's going to be incredibly expensive, and it's going to get more and more expensive as you climb up the ranks. Go-karting in the UK is so expensive that you can rarely find the price to enter a series professionally and compete against other people. Now, my parents always used to say, if something doesn't have a price on it, you probably can't afford it. And I've been searching around so many different places, and the prices that I find vary from somewhere around the £10,000 region for one season up to £200,000 per season of racing. To put that into perspective, an average UK household earns £29,900. That's not even double what it would cost on an absolute bare bones budget to compete nationally in go-karting in the UK. And if that wasn't crazy enough, then single-seater racing takes it to another level. 10 years ago, it cost around £200,000 to enter into the Formula Renault Championship in the UK. And that's just an introductory series to single-seaters. And that was over 10 years ago. Imagine what those prices are like nowadays. Former GP2, now F2 team boss David Sears, said in an Autosport article, "I feel like telling dads to tell their sons to take up tennis. I don't see how the hell any driver is going to make it on talent alone anymore." But remember what you were taught when you were younger. Chase your dreams. It's gotten to the point where Formula 1 world champions like Sebastian Vettel have said how karting is way too expensive. He said, "Nico Hülkenberg and I enjoyed karting against each other, but if we were to find ourselves doing it today, I think our careers would have stopped soon enough because we simply wouldn't have our money in our pocket to do it." And at this point, you haven't even reached F1 when you're doing go-karting. Even if you've taken out £200,000 to do one season of single-seater racing, you're nowhere near F1. At what point do you say, okay, this is not going to happen? And what are the alternatives? Well, for me, the obvious one is sim racing. Sim racing is incredibly popular thanks to advances in technology and ultra-realistic gameplay.
And it looks like Mattock was trying to go around outside. Can he get it done? What a move.
What a beautiful overtake there for George Mattock, asserting dominance on the opening lap. You're taking that one around the outside of...
Formula 1 teams and motorsport teams around the world always use simulators with their drivers to gather data and intelligence ahead of the races that they do in real life. I always loved playing the F1 games even on my old controller before I had a wheel, Gran Turismo games. I loved playing those games, and it was that sense of I will never get to do this in real life, so I have to do it virtually. When I was 17, I saw an advert for a racing driver scholarship in where you could set a lap on a simulator and then win £40,000 to go racing for a season in Formula 4, which is another entry-level racing series in the UK. Now, I saw this and I entered along with over 1,000, I think there was 1,200 people, and I finished 7th. And if you're a subscriber and you've seen the Racer documentary series, you already know this story. But in short, I essentially did this competition, I finished 7th, but I was less than about a 10th away from winning from Sebastian, who obviously won and is now driving for Red Bull Racing Esports. And from that, I did the Racer documentary series, and now me and Seb are really good friends. And if you needed any further explanation on how serious and ridiculous the money is getting these days in motorsport, if you look at Sebastian for an example, someone who has clear talent, he is an iRacing world champion. Very few people are in that club. And he, even when he's affiliated with an F1 team and he's world champion, even he struggles to get real life racing because of the financial barriers. The alternative for him is sim racing. He's a world champion and he is still connected with Red Bull, which is fantastic. Even when you have someone like Sebastian, who is so talented, is a world champion and knows how to drive a car in real life and has had much experience doing that, and they still can't get a drive. Are you still motivated to pursue your dream to become a racing driver? There seems to be a huge disconnect from motorsport, all the way from Formula One down to karting. The entire spectrum, the entire ladder is so incredibly expensive. It just blows normal working class families out of the water. There is no chance in competing in karting because it's incredibly expensive. There are only a handful of current Formula One drivers that haven't come from money, such as Lewis Hamilton. Everyone knows his story, everyone knows how that happened, and his dad held 3 jobs before he eventually got picked up by McLaren. And he knows that he is a 1 in a million driver. He said in 2020, "It was incredibly hard for me to break into this industry. I wish I could say it was better today, but if anything, I think the situation is worse than ever before." Even Lewis knows himself that unless there is drastic change on how junior categories in motor racing work and making it a lot cheaper and more accessible for all, he will be the last driver to come from a working class family that gets into Formula One. And that's the sad reality. What we have now is a pay to win situation. Rich families battling against rich families and seeing who can spend the most money to get to the top. There are countless stories where a driver has incredible talent, but they lack the resources and the finances to go and push on. And motorsport these days has become a playground for very wealthy families to battle it out against other very wealthy families, which means you are missing out on untapped potential world champions, amazing storylines, and talented young people that grew up chasing their dream, no matter how big. Motorsport is incredibly unique in the way that it works with the money and the sponsors and finances. And this is coming from experience. There is nothing more than I want to be than a racing driver. But the facts are, I'll never get that chance to prove, to show what I can do. And that storyline has happened hundreds, if not thousands of times already. I know of so many people out there who feel the same as me, and I wanted to make this video just to put it out there and to see what people think. And this is not meant to be a deterrent. You absolutely should chase your dreams, but also you have to face some brutal realities along the way. My message from this video is to the organisers, to the FIA, to anyone who gets involved in motorsport and has power to change. Make it cheap, make it accessible, and make it fair for all. You have the power to change the sport for the better. It just comes down to whether you really want to do it or not. When Hamilton won his record-equalling 7th World Championship in Formula One, this is what he said.
That's for all the kids out there who dream the impossible. You can do it too, man. I believe in you guys.